We ask that you help us and show your support by keeping your microphones on mute when not speaking. Please use the chat box now to sign in with your name and region if you haven't done so already. Also, as well, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat box. And also select everyone so we can all see that question, and it's a way of supporting each other. We would like everyone to know that this session is going to be recorded. You're able to turn off your video if you do not want to be shown in the camera. And now I would like to introduce to you Jessica Castañeda from the Identification and Recruitment Consortium, known as IDRC, with the title of Resources for All. Thank you, Jessica.
No problem. Welcome, you guys. I'm excited to be here with you, and we have a little bit of time this morning that I wanted to kind of give an overview of the things that are on the IDRC website and just resources that are available to all. If you have a question, I will try to pay attention to the chat box. Merced can always stop me and if I'm missing something and let me know too. And then if I share something and you want more information, let me know. One thing I will do is as I share something, I'll send the link in the chat box because sometimes I find that it's helpful for you to actually be able to go and see what we're referring to. And I believe I've turned in my presentation also so that they have it so that you guys can get it later if you would like it. So as it says here, our purpose, Oregon is a member of IDRC, but even for states that are not, our whole purpose is to improve the proper and timely identification of migrant kids. So we feel like if we can do our job right, it should make everyone else's job easier rather than more complicated. And so we try to keep that in mind. And we also feel that, the sooner we can identify migrant kids, the quicker they can be served and hopefully really get the help that they need. But we realize that all of us are on different learning levels. And some of us, this will be my 22nd year in migrant ed. But I remember very much starting out in the very beginning and wondering what on earth I was doing. I was hired in Tennessee as the IDNR coordinator, but there was myself and a part-time person. And that really just meant that I had the whole state to figure out where agriculture was. I hablo español, I speak Spanish. That's about all that I had going for me at the time. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out, what was the agriculture that was eligible, where families were. And so we always try to keep that in mind because I feel like there's a lot to learn in migrant ed and it takes a bit. And even if you're a seasoned recruiter, there seems like there's new things that come. And so our goal is to try to make sure that, life gets a little bit easier for you guys. So I'm going to share where I'm going to be going back and forth from the website to presentation. And I got to make sure I share you the right thing. So everything, if you're not familiar with the website, I'll put it in the chat box right now. So one of the things that we feel like is it's really important is that the website should be easy to use. And I do the website. So if you've got a problem, you can always tell me, hey, this is not, this could be better or something. Feel free to let us know. But when you're new to the website, just a few things to remember. Most of our major stuff, if you keep scrolling down the website, is all on there. So there's, we've got a menu and all these things that you can look, but a lot of the key things are on the very front page. And so one of the new things that we just did was a recruiter portal. And we put this in earlier this year. And the idea was there's so many different pieces and trainings and sometimes it's helpful to just see things by topic. And so, right here at the top, when you click on this, we do have a YouTube channel. Basically that just lists all of the different websites that we have, not websites, all the trainings that we've done. And so we just encourage people that you can go through this and see kind of the topics and see if anything interests you. We have them in different playlists. You can go and see all the recruiting 101 modules or all the monthly webinars or all the scenarios. All of those things are kind of throughout. So when you go back to the website, click back. We also have several, in this portal, we have a lot of different things that are available. We just barely added some eligibility flowcharts. Nationally, we realized that people were we're having a hard time with QADs and establishing when the migratory agricultural worker is, according to our national assessment. So we just barely put today some flowcharts that kind of give you some thinking as far as determining when there's a migratory agricultural worker, then determine if children are eligible, then really thinking out the QAD and res date and then just a reminder about COE comments. And so this is just a brand new tool that you don't have to use this. If you've got a better one, go for it. But we've realized there's a lot of new recruiters, and sometimes it's helpful to just have those charts. Included also are some agriculture research websites for states. And so we had like Department of Labor, like all your farm labor contract lists, all your MANTA, your farm subsidies. These are websites that we find farm data at, and housing resources. There's a national mobile home park that only we would get excited in Migrant Ed for this, that you could possibly think, okay, maybe there's some housing there. We've got some USDA resources and other websites that kind of keep you up with what's happening in agriculture. So, you know, we encourage people to go to the portal and just kind of check out some of the things we're constantly adding as we have new trainings related to different topics. And so that's one of those things that we feel like can be helpful. So let me go back and share my other page. Okay, so then you guys, I'm not sure. We also have a referral tool, and this is something that states can decide when they want to use it or how they want to use it. And I'll just go ahead and give a little bit of an explanation of that. So this referral tool, the idea was in IRC, so like 2 years ago, states were saying, we don't have an easy way to get a notification to a recruiter that there's a referral. Besides, like most school districts will send referrals from, you know, like occupational surveys. But what happens if you have a community partner out in the field that says, well, I might know of a family that qualifies. And so, of course, they can just text it or, you know, give you their phone number. But we thought that it might be helpful to have a tool that would be free for all, that you could just kind of click on and be able to put that referral in, and it would give a notification to the recruiter. And so going back to the website, I'll show you where that can be found. If you just scroll down just a little bit right here on that front page, here is the referral tool. So when you click on this, it'll bring up the referral system, and you can click right in and give a referral to a person, you know. So we'll just do it real quick. Let's say I'm just gonna make up something here. I'm just gonna say, and then you have your address. I'm just typing something, and I want them to know this is a fake referral, so they don't go look all over it. Yeah, you'll see that it's pre-populated. So you just scroll down, pick your state, pick your town from it, and I'll just literally show you. I could probably save myself some time if I would just type in MC. I'll just put in that I'm Macon. That's fine. And then I can put in the phone number, and then it asks me if anyone in the household is under the age of 22. I say yes. And then I click next. Then it asks me if anyone in the household has traveled in the last 36 months. I say yes. If they've been employed in agriculture or fishing, I click yes. And then I can say preparing fields. And then I just click next. Then I put my information. I'm going to put this as a test referral, so somebody doesn't get this in Tennessee. And I put test if I can type. So once I press next, that will go into the system. And if that was a real was a real referral, then the recruiter from Macon County in Tennessee would get a notification that says, hey, you have a new referral. So they'd get an email basically letting them know that they need to log into the system. And so this system exists for all states. We just barely made it mobile friendly also, so that there is a link. If you go to the website, let me show you if I can get there real quick. If you go down here to the website and you click on Referral Tool Resources, we've got some QR codes. We can set up, each state should have access to this. And so you can set up, you know, the accounts that you need. We also have the referral system in Spanish. So if you just want to send someone a link in Spanish, maybe to ask a family to self-report if they have a cousin or friend or something like that might qualify, you can do it in Spanish. We also have it in Portuguese below. And we can do it in any language that anyone's willing to translate for us. And we can just get that in there. So it's completely free. We also have some brochures. Like if you click on them, that you can see, with you don't want to use the system and you want to just get referrals. We've got some sample brochures that anyone could use and anyone can change if they want with the tool. And we've got brochures for agribusiness and farm. And then we also have brochures for school districts if they want to, just general ones that can be, you can put your own state's information in and you can use those. So that is right there on the front page. Just find it here. If you want the quick links for the Spanish one, you just click on here and it'll take you directly to the Spanish one. Now on it, you can actually change it by the flag, but we felt like that might be a little bit more complicated for families. So we just wanted that direct link also. So does anyone have questions on anything I've said so far? I can talk a mile a minute and then lose you. So if there's anything that doesn't make sense.
So Jessica,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, go ahead, Olivia.
Hi, Jessica. Nice to see you. Thank you for sharing. Definitely, the website is a wonderful tool, but behind that, we have recruiters with time very short for recruitment. So that means taking their time to go link and Google and find out. So this is a time consuming at one point. For recruiters that are probably full-time recruitment, it's a very fast way to find families and refer families. I'm thinking more in recruiters that are allocated at the school district, but they are not really have enough time to do recruitment. Just thinking proactive for the purpose to benefit of the web, right? My second comment is about the referral. I like the idea for states do this referring through IDRC, but I'm thinking about M6 because M6, we know, in fact, it is a hard way to log in because we know there's very sensitive data information. Most of the M6 people that we go over there, we had to reset password, and you know how annoying it is, right?
Yeah.
Muy difícil. But I think doing this, it would help. But it would be wonderful during not this session in Oregon, but also keep spreading the word to other states that let's start using this at the same time using the MCs, because one of the things I notice most of the time with our families, Region 16, are some of those families are moving without letting know the district, without letting know anybody. So it's hard to really find them. And then when you find them, and we know in fact the family is moving to another place, let's do this more as a practical activity, like having an overdo this, do list. That way we know that we're gonna start receiving this type of communication from other states. I think it's a wonderful tool. It can be inside our state or outside our state, but I think the key word would be spreading the word, use the tool, really, really go into find more information because I used it since 2000, I don't know how many years ago, the web has been there and it's very easy to navigate, but sometimes I realize it's the time that sometimes I don't have to log in and find out more detailed information.
Well, one of the things we're trying to do is train all states that want access. We realize that some people have very limited time, some have more. So we're hoping that, you use it where it benefits you the most. Like maybe you're sending a link to, Migrant Head Start and saying, hey, when you have an MOU in place or you're able to share information, they just put that information in as soon as they have a new family. Maybe you're using it to keep track of, referrals that you have from different places. So there's a lot of different uses, but we're hoping that, and one thing too, let's say, because there's a whole admin side that you go in and you check out and see your referrals. If you see something that you think maybe could possibly be improved, you text us and call us or email us and just say, hey, what is there a possibility for this? And if there is a chance that we can improve it, we definitely will try to do that. But thank you for your comments on that. Any other questions on anything?
Yeah, Jessica, this is Sue from the MESC. This is a really good tool. I see the use maybe in the school level when they're doing intakes and things like that. And so my question is, when somebody initiates this referral process, let's say to Oregon, where does that information or who does the information go to?
Depends on how your system's set up. So let's say I'm in Tennessee and I meet a family that's going to go to Oregon, you know, right now. I can go ahead and put that information in. But what happens is, so if the state doesn't have anybody on their end, Justin and I get an email that says, hey, there's a referral with nobody on the other end to get it. And then we contact the state and just say, hey guys, we have a referral for you. But in Oregon, you can actually assign, and we do a full training on this. So if this is something that you guys want a lot more information, we can do a super in-depth of how the admin side is and how you set up accounts and different types of accounts. But it boils down to, depending on how you've set it up, as soon as you assign a recruiter or a supervisor an area, then they'll get, and any referral that comes in that area, they'll get a notification that they have a new referral for that area.
Yeah, this is, I think it's very beneficial, especially for folks who are at the ESD level and they work with many districts. And this system here that you have does not require a login, right?
Well, so to put in referral in, you can just, anybody can put it in. So that's why we, but to access the referrals, you do have to have a login.
Yes.
On the admin side. Yeah.
Right. So I'm thinking about like school secretaries, they could just click on this and then, shoot a referral out to the local recruiters.
We've had farmers use it. We've had like partner agencies, National Farm Worker Jobs sends us referrals through that. So you just have to start thinking outside of the box. The real challenge that we've seen is the process of getting a referral. We're usually really comfortable with schools, but how do we partner? How do we make sure that all those in the community, even to families themselves, would be willing to say, hey, I have a sister that might qualify, or I have, so yeah, any way that you can use it, it's there, it's free. We have seen several states like really go crazy with it and really use it all over, but I still feel like we're kind of in the implementation phase with a lot of states. And so hopefully we're hoping that really grows over time. Okay, so if you haven't used it yet, that, Sandra and Merced, whenever you guys want really in-depth training, just reach out to us and we can set that up. It only takes like an hour or so, but we also have, if you're just wondering, also on that same page that I just mentioned for referrals, just the resources on the front right here where it says, you can click on that and there are YouTube videos on the whole process, like a 5-minute video on this and 5-minute video on that. So you guys can always access that if you want to learn more. So moving on to the H2A and H2B maps. This is another thing that's on the website. And so let me go ahead and pull them up just so you can kind of see where they are. Let me go back to, so here on the front page, again, I'm kind of hanging out still on this front page right here. We have what we call the H2A and H2B maps. So these are available for every state and we update them pretty much monthly, or it may be 6 weeks. It just depends on our workload of what we have going on. So the idea is there is a really cool tool at the bottom of the page that's called Spotlight. And so let me go ahead and put this in. You can play around with it. So we stumbled across this because I used to type lists and lists from the old Deleta site for the H2A stuff for states. And we stumbled across this Spotlight. And if you've seen it, a lot of you probably have. Basically what it does is give you a listing. It scrapes the data, just kind of a web term that they off of the Department of Labor site every single day. And you can go in here and look up at just your state and go in and see kind of the map of where H2A workers are in your state. Make sure that this is working. Let me see, my computer may be way slow because it's not showing anything. And I know you guys have, it's just, okay, so I know you have some. So, when you click on it, basically it'll give you the 8, I don't know if it's my internet. It'll give you the 8 and then you click on this and it'll give you the actual PDF. You can click on and see the actual PDF order of how the H2A worker was requested, where they're supposed to work, all of those things. But when we stumbled upon this, we realized that we could use this in a way to help states have a list, but we also have our own scraping tool to put the housing information on. So when you open this up, trying to look for Oregon here, you guys, when you open up, you'll get a Google sheet. And if you just open it and make sure that in your, in any Google email that you have this in your drive, We updated it each month, and the same thing will be updated in your drive. Like you don't have to go back and find it. You see the last one was done on by October 18th by Justin. The top yellow ones are the newest H2A and H2B. We pull out any of the H2B orders that are not relevant. Of course, these are your visa workers that are coming specifically for agriculture, or H2B, it might be maybe forestry or something like that. So we pull those, we put those on there every month. We also make you a map. The maps password are always IDRC. So it's just a capital IDRC, and then you can see these on a map. Cool thing about the map is you can actually play over here with the, like maybe you want to see which ones have the total largest positions, and you can see anything that's blue has over 40. And so you can click on here and it'll then give you the information of that particular H2A farm. So that is for their work sites. But we also have, next to that, we have the housing site. So you have the same thing. We have a list. Maybe you don't want to use Batch Geo, the list we have, and you want to put it in Google Maps, go right ahead. That list is, here's all the housing sites for H2A and H2B. And then right next to it is a housing site map. So you can actually load this map on your phone. And when you click on this, there'll be like a little arrow. If it was on your phone, you can just click on it. It'll give you the, it'll use whatever thing you have for GPS to be able to find that particular place. These exist for every single state. We'll continue to do those. So we just want to make sure you know that that's there and that you can access those whenever you want. So then going back to, that's one resource. So we want to make sure, we're hoping that more places will be able to get more of their H2A or H2B signed up. Going back to the website, sorry, I keep going back and forth, but let me see. Go back to the website, kind of in the front again. We have our mini quizzes. There's probably 8 or 9 of them. These quizzes are completely just little tests that you can take yourself, and it'll give you an answer on how you did. Some of them have modules over here on the side that you can download and kind of read about. So these are something that we felt like sometimes you just want an assessment to say, hey, I'm pretty sure I know about migratory worker, but let me just take the test, and it'll give you the results right then. We also have the national assessment that anyone can request codes for, like state, that would usually be your state director or Merced or someone to be able to request those. You just message me and say, hey, I need so many. And when you take the assessment, what we do is give the results. We suggest that the assessment is a testing guide to be able to see where you're missing, what you're not understanding, and where you can get help. So not so much like, oops, you're not a good recruiter. It's more like, oops, we need to train more because this is not coming out clear. And so this assessment is available for every single state. It's totally free. It is an assessment bank too. So when you go in to take the assessment, maybe you do like a pre and a post, you take the assessment, you see where you're at, your supervisor, you guys come up with training for them, and then maybe you take it 4 months later and you can do like a post because they will not get the same test. And so that way it's something that can be really a training tool to help you. See something in the chat. Okay, yeah, good quality control. So I feel like sometimes people get really stressed over, I have to take this test. If it's used right, it's a test that benefits both the recruiters because it quickly identifies where it's not quite clear, and it's helpful for the supervisors because they can realize, okay, where do you need to provide more assistance to your recruiters as far as training. So there's that. We also, these are brand new, brand new in like the last 2 months. A lot of people have used the English and Minutes books. We made them years ago in Tennessee because we used to sell them to raise money for a scholarship for our migrant kids, but now they're completely available for everyone for free. And you can go back to the website and 2 different places. If you scroll down and see here, it says access our recruiter language page, language resource page. And when you get on here, you'll see there are 4 different books. English in Minutes is the first one. We picked intentionally the books that we thought you might be able to share links with workers. That also, so when you click on this book, it will take you to a flip book. And so we used to share the PDF, but not everybody has access to PDF on their phone. And so this literally, you can play around with it. Hold on. And you just click the next page and it'll let you see what's there. You can go in closer. You can kind of scroll in on things and make it bigger. But it's just a kind of a cool way that you can have the whole book that they can watch or listen to. We also have all of, sorry, I'm gonna go back to where I was, all of the audio. And so you can also download. So if you wanted to put it on like a SIM card or, so you can download the whole audio or they can listen to the audio there. We also have several other books that are all focused on completely on survival English. And then below, so if you just want to do something with these, you can download all the PDFs right there, all the audio right there. But then we also have some books that we used to give to farmers, like if they were wanting to learn Spanish. I know Spanish is not the only language people speak, but I don't have a lot of other free books. But these are books that you can actually, it'll be a whole guide on English, Spanish, and the phonetics of pronouncing Spanish correctly. There also is a Somali dictionary below. These are all free. You can access them how you want to, but we suggest that, maybe some of them you're just sending them the link, like you can send them this link up here and say, hey guys, here's a book that you could study, or you can download this and it's super easy to use. And so we were just trying to come up with another way that might be helpful for people to be able to just have something they could share via their phone on a link. And so feel free to use those however that helps you. Hopefully it helps you. All right, let me see. I got the chat box in front of where I am. All right, so that's that one. And there's the other ones that I just mentioned. We also do a bunch of ag trends stuff. So if you want to just know what's happening in agriculture, if you will follow our Facebook page, we are putting all of the, basically pretty much put it every day. We follow a lot of different agriculture across the country. And when there's information that might be helpful for states to just kind of, it is for the whole country. So you'll learn about crops that you probably, will not even have heard of in some places. But the idea is we try to look at what's happening. So we do have those. If you're on Facebook, it literally is just Identification and Recruitment Consortium, and you can find us that way. So if you don't want to follow it, you don't have to. You can just click it, and when you want to see what's happening with agriculture, we're trying to keep that kind of information up pretty much every day. We post different things. So here is, if anybody wants that, let me see if I can just click on that. So you can see it right there. It's Facebook Identification and Recruitment. So here's an example of some few things that we just posted just the other day. We also spent a good amount of time this past year developing lists for all states. And you can see, I think I have Louisiana's here. Let me see if I can put your list. Do they have these, Merced? Have they gotten these lists? Maybe I'm gonna stop sharing right now. Okay, so everybody, should I find them right now or give them the link? Or
we have them on our website as well.
Okay, well then I won't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll save your time with that. So each state, we developed a lot of these so that states could have, we wanted to level the playing field and make sure that everybody had all the farm labor contractors. They had everything we could possibly find about agriculture. We've got all the processors, and then states could really hopefully be able to put that on some sort of map or some sort of tool that recruiters could easily see those kind of locations. And so we're going to continue to provide those updates too, just for those, like for Merced, one thing we've realized is we can get the FOIA requests, which is the Freedom of Information requests, on a lot of different agriculture. And so we're working with the Department of Agriculture on the national level to try to get some more updated lists so that we pulled a bunch off Manta. So if you show up, one thing is a little bit of feedback that we got back. Sometimes people would say, well, on the list, I show up and it's a house and it's not a business. One thing to remember is a lot of small farms are registered at the house address. They may have a barn, they may have something somewhere else. And so like my husband and I have a small farm, we raise cows. Everything that's listed in agriculture under our name would bring someone right to my front door. And so sometimes recruiters will say, this list and it's a house and I didn't stop at the house, ask them about it. Usually it's their cousin, it's their dad, it's somebody, and they'll be able to tell you, because a lot of the agricultural locations, a lot of fields don't have an address. And so they will put that specifically there. So again, don't say, well, it's a house, I'm not going to go there. Check it out, because it's usually tied to the business somehow. Any questions on anything so far? Okay. Connect Team is another tool that IDRC is offering for states. It's completely free, but states really can decide how they want to use it. What it is, one of the things that we're supposed to be doing as a consortium is finding a way to track recruiters' efforts, not like put a little GPS thing on you, but to be able to figure out what data needs to be kept by recruiters that will make IDR just identification recruitment efforts more streamlined, but will also make it easier to keep what key information you need to have. Like, for example, farm profiles. You go out, you visit a farm, you talk to the owner, he tells you to come back in 3 weeks. And this is a way that you could create a simple report that you could put the farm owner's name, you could put the time that you visited, the comments that they said, and it can be, and it's an app that you can put on your phone that you can enter, you can create your own reports. Supervisors can create it depending on your accounts that you have. You create those reports and then it goes into the system and you're able to download that information whenever you want to access that. And so we are working, one of our things that we'll be doing this year with our work groups with IDRC is trying to develop templates of just what would be good practice of data that recruiters should be keeping. And for example, we really suggest that supervisors are aware of recruiters are where they're at and what they're doing, not just to check up on them, but to provide support. So if I'm a recruiter and I went to a farm and the guy was super rude to me and I'm not sure what I did wrong, maybe I could put that in my report and say, hey, if you have any suggestions on how I could approach this guy in the future, my supervisor would read that and then would be able to give me some support or would suggest that I talk to, a recruiter that maybe has more experience. So we suggest that this is a back and forth between recruiters and their supervisors, but this is a super easy tool to be able to use. It's completely free. You can have as many accounts as you need. So Merced and Sandra will know about that. And with time, depending on how you guys want to use that, states will get to pilot it. It basically, even if you didn't get it through IDRC, it's pretty cost effective. And so you can just develop the kind of reports that you need. And it's pretty cool what you can do. So any questions about connecting or anything else I've said?
Jessica, I think there was a question. Martina, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, a really brief question. On the trainings and webinars that you have, they hardly ever show Pacific time the times. And it's amazing that Eastern, Central, Mountain, but not Pacific. Is it possible to show Pacific times, please?
Yeah, I can fix it.
Thank you.
I'll do that. That's totally me. I'm like, okay, Central, Eastern, Mountain. I'll make sure I get you guys in. So
thank you.
That I can fix because that's me. That's a good question. Good comment. Any other comments related to any of that or anything like that? Because sometimes you just don't forget, you don't remember. I'm just like trying to make sure, but there's no excuse. I will get it. I'll add it on today. Any other questions so far?
Jessica, this is Olivia.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the IDRC consortium and how we can benefit of this partnership that the state has created with you guys. I'm thinking more about, I started with MigrantNet 25 years ago. I remember used to recruit in Florida, man, a lot of fields, and one day I used to make 100 COEs, just like that, right? In Oregon, time has been changed a lot. You mentioned about the H2 worker. At one point, I hear state directors, oh, H2 workers, they are coming. They think that they are here and they're like hormigas, and it is not happening. So I think as a consortium, it would be wonderful because you are the connection with OME, right? You are the people that OME see, hey, tell me your advice.
Well, I don't know about that, but
well, my hoping is that because we hear this morning Tara saying that we need to reinforce IDNR, but what does that mean? Right?
Well, and you guys, so some are really seeing H2A, but some are not. Depends on a bunch of factors, but I just interrupted you. Continue on with your question.
No, and it's fine. I mean, because I'm in my region, I really use all of these tools. I mapping, and I used to be the state, so I know where I need to go and find out more H2 workers. But what I'm trying to say more on this, and my comment, Jessica and everybody, is that recruitment has been changed through the years. Right now, the way I see it and the way I feel it is like we see more subsequent moves, but we stop seeing engaging and qualifying work. We see families moving, but now the new jobs are not connecting with agriculture. So it would be wonderful. It would be wonderful that we had a project, a resource who really put this on table, because one day la legislatura is gonna ask us, where are the migrant families? Subsequent move, the way I see it, has been saving MEP program.
Well, I
But-
think it depends on the region though. I think because there are states that, and I've worked in states recently where they're definitely seeing the moves for agriculture, and like fishing, for example, that is an industry that is almost, it employs like almost half of what we have nationally for migrant ed, and we are not signing fishing workers in most states. And so I feel like there's still places that we can get in, but I think your comment is exactly right too. Some areas are only seeing subsequent moves. Some areas are not seeing any subsequent moves, and they're only seeing H2A workers. It is so diverse, but agriculture has really changed. Like, it continues to change. And the amount of food that we get from other countries, I mean, when you look at it, we're close to, less than 350,000 migrant kids in the country. That is way low for us to show that this is a real specific needy, this population needs to have its own program. So personally, I feel a real sense of urgency for us to get better at, like, nationally, but to be aware that regionally it may be totally different, and locally it may be completely different. And one side of the state is seeing tons of movement, the other side is talking to every single person they see, and every now and then is catching a few of those subsequent moves. So I feel like it's a patchwork, but I have seen states that, I have been to H2A camps with 800 H2A workers, where 2 years ago there wasn't. It was families. And so you literally see this shift depending on the state, depending on all these different factors that are happening. But now they have, like, 1 in 4 farmers say their biggest problem is not enough labor. And so that's going to directly impact ag. They can't keep going with not enough workers. So I think your comment is right on, but I also think there might be someone else sitting in the same Zoom that's like, hey, I'm seeing workers. But it's so diverse what we're seeing. But it really, like what you just mentioned, you're trying to use the tools, you're doing that thing, as long as we're trying as much as we can. But I do think OME really needs to, I don't know that they have, and this is being recorded, so I better be careful. They're not out in the field every day like you guys are. So, but I do think your reality is the same for some people, but then it's very different for others. And it's really interesting to see how diverse that is. But yeah, I remember the days of signing 100.
Definitely, but maybe this result will help just to understand. Understand, and because you said in this, like, in connecting team, yeah, it could be great for recruiters / coordinators / directors to know, but the recruiter we are facing more and more some barriers that needs to be supported, not from coordinators, but also starting from the state, and then for OME to really visualize that, yes, you're totally right. It's not the same region 16 if I compare with region 20 that they have a lot, right?
Yeah.
But the goal is, or my intention is more about find out more what is happening with agriculture and how we can get better, find the best resource for recruiters, the best tool, and implement it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's something too, like, when you mentioned, like, okay, we're partnering with IDRC, one of the things that we can do too is we do a lot of research for states where sometimes they'll say, hey, we just really would like a really good report of, like, what's the state of agriculture in our state? And so we can take a look at all the different factors. And maybe you have specific, you're saying, like, nursery. I live in one of the largest nursery counties in the country, according to what they say. I don't know if we are anymore. But when the economy went down, people don't buy nursery unless they're building new houses. And so it seems like we're way late. We're like, why are they not buying trees? And then realize, well, okay, it's tied to this, or it's tied to that, or this is coming. And then the only nurseries that really survived really well were the flat ones that had fruit and not the ornamentals. And so they did really good. Well, right now, the nurseries around me, it's not the fruit, it's back to the ornamentals. And so there's all these shifts and factors that affect us. But I think it's the better we can be aware of those, and then aware of the challenges that each one of us are facing, I think the better off we are. And so just putting that out there for Merced and Sandra, if you guys ever need research on a specific area or just an overview, that is something we can, we're not experts, but we are good about finding, all the different articles and things about different industries of what's going on. So good comment, Olivia. I remember you from years and years and years ago. So if you were there before I ever was. So here is another thing too. Our whole goal is to build capacity within states. And so if it's something that you guys are ever needing training on different things, IDRC does all sorts of free training. I feel like we're kind of well-versed in a lot of things. We're not experts, but we can share a lot of different ideas. But if we don't know it, then we can try to find somebody. Maybe you have a specific request and it's not something that I could really help or Justin could really help with. We try to put you in contact with someone who's really good with those things. And so I know Merced and Sandra, being members of the work groups, they're aware of this, but just to kind of put out there if anyone ever needs it. This is also on the website. If you go down farther down, let me see if I can find it. If you scroll down, right here where it says targeted response to IDNR, here's all the different kinds of trainings and things that we can do. Even if it's something like, how to work with social media and recruit, or just all sorts of random things that we can train on if that's something your state ever needs. Let's see, make sure I'm sticking with what I was supposed to share. So the year 2 things, these are things that you're going to probably hear about. We're working on a national service portal. So an example of this would be, let me see if I can pull something up real quick to kind of share kind of an idea that we have. So this is just one of the things we want to do is we're supposed to improve and this is just a sample one of the idea that we have of something we've created in the past. But the idea is a recruiter's out and about. We were kind of charged with IDRC to come up with a way that recruiters can help begin with beginning services, not providing all the services, but just starting families on the right way. And so what we're going to work on is a portal that will have resources that recruiters can share, that are online resources that families could be aware of, like, hey, you've got a second grader that's really struggling with math. Well, here's some resources and some places and some things that you can go. This does not have to be it. This is just an example of something. And then we also have the idea that there are national resources that are helpful for families to know, like maybe where all the Head Starts are, or where all the clothing banks or food banks. And so we're going to look at kind of having a portal for each state of those things that they would like on there that the recruiters could share and say, hey, and it could be in different languages. They can click and just have like a widget to change the language and say, hey, well, this is where you could go for this or for this or this. And so we have a work group that's going to be working on kind of what they want included on that, and we'll build that this year. We're also really focusing on the idea of balanced recruitment, with Olivia's just comment about like, hey, sometimes we're just seeing subsequent moves and it's not the same as it was with recruiting. We realize that in order for us to absolutely be totally thorough in our recruiting, we have to make sure that we know housing, that we know we have good partners that are keeping their eyes and ears out there, that we're working with farms and agribusiness, and that we're also working with schools. So nationally, that's not happening in all places. And so if it is happening in your area, then kudos to you, because a lot of places are just focusing on school or just focusing on farms. And so really looking at the idea of really truly balancing the recruitment efforts. We also do a lot of work with helping states with their IDNR plans and their strategic planning, reporting resources, and a lot more kind of things along that line. So a couple other things. One other thing that we just barely put up this morning on the website, if I can get it, if I can go to it. We have under our what's new, one of the things we want to try to do, Justin's working on a non-typical qualifying activity presentation, and we realize there's a lot of agriculture that some states are aware of and other states are not aware of. So we're going to do what we call ag focus pages, where we look at different industries, and we also try to put information about the industry of what's happening, web pages that you can actually go to. So we just made a fishery pages, like looking at fishing in general. So I'll put the link on here. I got 5 minutes, so I gotta be quiet here very soon. So this is the fisheries one. So what we did with this is literally look at some of the things that are currently out here, like the NOAA has an interactive tool about what's currently happening with jobs. Where are the jobs happening? Where are people working at? And then they There is also some information that you can take a look at regionally, what's happening. If you scroll down here, I believe like you can take a look and say, hey, I want to look at what's happening out in my area in the West Coast, and just general information about what's happening out there. Then we also have, I'm going kind of fast, but there's the regional offices. Like maybe you want to reach out and say, hey, what's going on? This is what I do. Maybe it's someone in your region that wants to reach out and kind of talk to them. So this is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They've got a ton of resources. And then we've got if you can check and see if there's a fish hatchery close to you. And so if you click on these, it'll give you the information of these different places and actually link to these different hatcheries. We also have just general information of like the different associations, and you can kind of click on these and see. And then there was kind of some information on like it says here that the top ports of the US and different fishing, the totals, where it's coming from, just to give us a little bit more information related to fishing. So we're going to continue to add to this, but just feel like there's industries where you may say, hey, it's nice to know this is going on, but where do I start? Who do I find? And so there is also a listing that we came across that is the seafood inspection sites that they have. And it was just kind of a random little list that we just came across that has from this seafood inspection program. And if you click on it, I can't see where to move it, sorry. If you click on it on the different pages, it'll give you the lists of these different by state and by different places, all of the names of some of these places, the actual processing facilities and things like that. So we're going to try to come up with better resources too. And so we're hoping to have a lot of these different ag area focus pages. And so this is our landing page to start putting a lot more information about fishing. And so we hope to have more of those for each industry. So when you see those scenarios and you're like, what is that? You can go and then find and learn more about the different industries and see what's eligible. I think my time is just about up. So anyone have any questions on anything we've mentioned today or just anything in general? One other thing, I would encourage you to go to our upcoming events. We always put all of our webinars. If people are like, hey, I don't know where to go. If you just go on right on our front page and then just go where it says upcoming events, click on that. We always have a calendar of all the different things that are happening. And usually, I don't have specific times, but I will fix that. Usually you can click on there and it'll tell you like, when you can register, if you want to register. And sometimes we have like extra things that we're asking you about, but feel free. This is the calendar and you can use it however you want. Okay, I think I'm pretty close to, I need to be quiet. So, Merced, I turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Jessica. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedule, because I know you have 27 projects and plus have to deal with the ODE and all these other consortiums, but we really appreciate your time and all the work that's been done on this IDRC website. I mean, it's tremendous work. And I would really encourage some of the recruiters out there, new recruiters especially, to sign up for the boot camp that's coming up in December.
If you're not getting our newsletters, I'll go ahead and put this in here. You may not want, if you want the newsletter and you're not getting it, if you go to this front page right here, it'll ask you you can sign up for the newsletters and you can get those in your box if you want them.
Thank you. Michelle, Sue, Sandra, any other comments that need to be done before we let Jessica go?
Just thank her again and thank everyone for being here and being such a good audience. Very good resources and tools, and I really enjoyed that you walked us through the website. Just as a reminder, this link